Every team has to do this eventually, so for BlossoM, that's how the chips fall here. Will be Sky Temple, the chosen map for BlossoM, trying to really swing this momentum back. Historically speaking, this has been a map Supernova has liked to play because of their global tendencies. We'll see if they end up getting the Dahaka yet again.
When are we going to have a Braxis game, Wolf?
Never. Not even one more time for the rest of the season. Spoiler alert. Sorry to depress you. I know you haven't asked me since we were casting 2017. Wins Braxis, wins Braxis. I'm like, never. Actually, never. And it was like only 2 times ever. We had it once in 2016. Remember the Rexar game?
Yes. And I told you,
yeah,
it will be a Rexar game.
And I was like,
and you and Artosis were saying, there's no way. Stop lying, G-Clef. And then it came out, like, first pick.
I remember that. I'll remember that game forever.
Those very early stages of Braxis when Braxis just came out.
Yeah. Well, Maev's banned this time. Question answered. But will Supernova take Deckard Kane on first pick? Or is Merida going to get it again? He bans a white man, which makes this first pick Deckard even stronger, but I get the feeling they're going to just... Oh, they did it! They did it!
They did it. They figured out the answer.
I thought they were just going to take Dahaka again, but I'm very glad they did not. This will be the first game in 5 games in a row in a streak where Merida has been unable to play Deckard Kane. So the draft gets a little bit tougher here for BlossoM, as you can see.
As you can see, Merida is not too happy about it.
Nope.
He doesn't want to speak a word. So they're going to skip support. He doesn't get to get it. He used to get it. He doesn't get it anymore.
Well, Dahaka's still open, so that's something that Supernova can look at here. It will definitely be banned if they don't grab it right now. So, Raynor and Nubarok instead. We did see one of the strategies for BlossoM revolve around ganking Kirisaku last game on Dragonshire, and they were able to do it with flying colors, really successful. They had the Maev pick, which made it easier. So there's a chance they just leave this open because they realize, hey, this actually could be more of a liability for Supernova. Let's see. And nope, they ban it.
Okay.
A lot of thought into that one.
It just as a global final game. Even though BlossoM was able to take it when Dahaka was threatening to move to the bottom, BlossoM was not sure to go in or not, and Supernova actually took the advantage, and they were really having good use of it. So might as well ban it. There was nothing else that you can kind of target ban. So I think that's not a bad choice.
It's a safe ban,
yeah.
You know. It really is. Hammer is another one of those safe bans.
Really? Really? When you can support... Well, you can't really support Chuck Merida, but you can kind of have a better one. Just setting it up.
Hey, Ana Li Ming, available here. Very powerful on this map. Gonna hold it for now, at least. May just be Phoenix instead of the Li Ming to be safer, as Phoenix has more consistent damage output. We've already got the Hanzo for boss clear time, so I think Li Ming is great here. But they take Falstad, so they're actually going to be the ones that control global. This rarely happens for BlossoM. They don't normally do this. They used to, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, following up with the second ban, it makes more sense why they banned the Haka away. They're trying to catch the global, which is not too common at all from BlossoM.
Supernova looking for those final 2 picks. Kirisaku doesn't get comfort. He will get the Zeratul, it looks like, here. No, it will be Blaze he plays. Zeratul will serve as the DPS in this case, so not the Zeratul we saw earlier that was solo laning.
Yep, Zeratul to basically snipe Falstad.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we saw from a long time ago was a Tracer role.
Yes. So much of that. Falstad versus the roaming ganker.
I guess Rhaegar won't be too bad.
What in the world is this?
Storm? No. Maybe when Zeratul comes in, Storm lock, but they don't really have targeting burst. That's another thing. They can change that. They can chain it with taunt, But will they provide enough damage? They don't have anyone like Li Ming Jaina that we asked for.
I think you have to be right, because Divine Shield gets no value in this comp whatsoever.
So Irel has a semi-Divine Shield on herself anyhow.
It's better than Divine Shield.
Falstad may be on Falstad?
I guess.
So I'm thinking a Storm.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Remember I said it's been at least 5 games since we've seen Meridae's, you know, playing a non-Deckard hero. And it may even have been longer than that, but those are the ones I've been keeping track of for this week, right? This week specifically. So I hope this is not a sign that he has been playing only Deckard and preparing only Deckard, and he's like, well, yeah, I was like pretty good at Uther back in the day. We hit this one up. I don't think that's the case. I think they are trying to do something with Storm and the taunt and the arrow, etc., etc. You can gust everyone into a choke, arrow them, taunt them, storm them. You know, it's one of those things that you and I like to jokingly call the if situation, the if heroics, because it's like, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens.
And then let them go home safely because they lack damage. Not saying they lack damage, but like we have to line all those CC up with pretty good skill shots.
It's just weird, and I don't know if I like it, but I'll form a further opinion about it as the game goes on. I think that the fact of the matter is Meridae's pushed away from his comfort here, and that's why I'm so glad to see a team finally pick Deckard against BlossoM in that early stage of the draft, because BlossoM's just been able to get away with this pick forever. And it is also very exciting to see Uther again. We have not seen him in months. It's insane how long it's been, actually. It was the only support to pick for a long time. Okay, this was really good coordination by BlossoM. Habian very likely to go down. Gondar's Lightning Rod will be the finishing blow there.
That's why we have Uther. Instant stun. When Zeratul comes in, instant stun, pair up with some other CC. And giving some threat to Zeratul. Kind of like against Genji, what we saw a lot.
Yeah, that's true. And very powerful as, you know, similar to kind of like Varian in the past to shut down the Tracer. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Genji was countered by Uther for the longest time, as well as empowered by him. So first pick Genji, so like, oh, we can't first pick him because Uther can pick Uther. But if we don't pick him, they're going to pick Uther Genji. So, oh, I'm glad we're not in that meta anymore. Thank God we got 3 bans on G-Clef.
And 3 bans on top tier list is actually a lot more than that. And that was back in double support days.
3 bans, AK.
And I did not miss that time.
3 bans, AK, remove Genji and Maev sometimes from the game.
What was the last Genji game that we had? Eastern Flash?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Or,
like
the first few days, and that was it.
Before that was even longer. Well, the first pick got them a lot of value with Uther, and just roaming around right now, trying to threaten this top push. Does get a little bit of damage onto the wall, but because it doesn't kill any of the Cantars, they don't get any extra experience. Remember that Gondar on the Falstad is not only getting soaked, but also gaining attack damage. Every takedown, every minion kill makes him stronger. Usually a bigger factor when we go to late game on maps that have a better late game than this map does, but remember too, when you talk about the Divine Storm, you have that for boss control, plus Falstad Gust, plus Arrow, plus boss clear time. BlossoM has really good tools to get that level 10 boss timing if they can reach 10 first.
The real reason why Zeratul is a big threat to Falstad, even if the Mighty Gust is used to bring Zeratul away from yourself, you can just pull in. So you will just be wasting your Gust. And even if you fly, he can actually chase you with that Whirlpool.
Yeah.
I think there's a maximum range of how much you can actually chase, but you can pretty much catch up to Falstad without using that flight.
Yeah, there's a small window, though, to get on top of him. BlossoM, I don't think it needs being said, but they do get the majority of both of these temples. They further the level lead just slightly, about half a level ahead right now. They have the 7 talent tier advantage. And look at the position here right now, Falstad versus Zeratul. Always a scary thing for the Falstad player, but when you know that your teammates are in the mid lane and that you're communicating with them, you don't feel as worried. You can actually safely soak. I think the camp is about to come back online and that we might see an invade here. Yep, just now ready. Honkono's ready for that invade. And it looks like they may just have to give this up. Haven is with the collapse on.
So they know exactly where Zeratul is. I thought Hero was going to at least make a late rotation down if they were going for that invade. But I guess they just wanted to have some pressure and having some mind games on top. And they had a vision of Zeratul the entire time. He was wave clearing the mid.
Yeah, Haven is trying to flank. This is going to be a second time in the last few seconds to try to come in there and get a nice angle, but unfortunately does not find what he's looking for. Really good positioning here by BlossoM. Meanwhile, that Zeratul Falstad matchup has moved mid. But such insane wave clear here with the arrows on these Siege Giants means that BlossoM actually has this push now towards this bottom zone. Luckily for Supernova, though, they've been able to avoid any picks. And they have, despite being down in experience, prevented BlossoM from getting that level 10 boss right before this temple, which is normally, when you're the favored team, what teams try to do on this map. But BlossoM does not get that 10. They're about to.
And look at Irel just jumped in, so they may be considering some damage from... No, they had the watchtower, so Irel just backs out. So no real casualties on top either. And look at Zeratul just harassing Falstad every single time. It is shield.
Divine shield, yeah. And he got cleansed too, so all the CC that Supernova has, which is a lot, by the way, is not going to be as effective. But look at that. Pre-10, Gust, just like you said, completely negated. And that's the fear you always have is the Split Soaker versus the Zeratul, especially a squishy one like Falstad that you're just going to get ganked. Falstad does have flight, so they can actually mess around here and try to control this, because he will be able to just return right away. They're going to have a positional disadvantage and no Gust, though.
Gust doesn't really help too much in the bottom temple because there's less of a place you can actually escape. The choke point is way too small.
Okay, Deckard was holding it for a while, but does lock in the Lornado. Irel...
Yeah, Irel's not even coming down here. Was considering, but they lost it way too much.
If Irel is able to push this wave and maybe get top fort while BlossoM slows this down, I think it's amazing. If she does not, then still good for Soak. Predicting Zeratul's movement here, now sees him on the watchtower. But Zeratul's just going to clear that. And now we're at this moment in this game where there's no objectives outside of boss. BlossoM is the only of these two teams that could potentially make one of these runs at it because they have the Hanzo pick with a scatter build, but Supernova comes down to check. And BlossoM is just not going to take the unnecessary risk.
I guess they really wanted, not just because of Zeratul, because of CC chain, they really wanted Falstad to stay alive. That will actually draw out a lot of the damage and CC. If Falstad maybe stays alive, Hanzo can put out some damage so they can actually sustain in fights. That's the idea behind the shield that we see here. But if they were going to pick Uther and do that, why not other heroes? I'm wondering.
I mean, Meriday's iconic Karzim, for example, which has Palm available. I think that Divine Shield is amazing for AD carry type heroes, which Falstad will eventually become. The later games goes on. It's amazing for Vala, for even Raynor. But in this draft, yeah, it feels a little bit out of place. It's weird. Supernova getting a really nice push to going here. The Siege Giant camp gets all the way to the fort, which was already damaged from the previous temple, so they're actually going to commit all the way in. In fact, while Garrosh already used his toss, Honkono, he's caught here. Does avoid the stun, or the root rather, but gets stunned here by Haven. His body blocked. Fort's down. Void set up here. Bunker. Massive damage. Trying to gust away Gondar. Is not going to survive. Divine Shield used as well. Still not enough. And we live in a reality where Supernova looks poised to take match point. Man, they are taking these small advantages and making them into bigger ones. This is the one thing BlossoM has going for them is this top push. But Temple Control currently massively looking towards Supernova's favor, and this wave is going to give them even further of an experience lead.
A lovely bunker block plus the Lornado. We see those type of body blocks once again. Falstad, even with that shield, I don't think will be surviving after a long while. And Onkona certainly did not really think about the HP on the fort too much, as he already used Unstoppable to escape from 1 CC early on. Where they would love to chase back, but how can they start it when they have the Falstad, but globally they're losing the macro? Because Gondar is consistently pressured. He can't even be in the off lane because Zeratul will be chasing him.
Yeah, he's died twice already in that position. All forts down for BlossoM. Supernova only with one sliver of a fort left, but the Falstad pick is not working out. Only one kill down, but down in experience with the Global. Global's died twice. Look at this Banshee control here just to make sure they get full vision. Love it. Just making sure that BlossoM is not doing boss, but also now that they've fully committed over here, just making sure that BlossoM is not aware if they're doing boss, trying to threaten the idea of like, ooh, we could be doing boss, you should move over here. While Zeratul is pushing top. They will have 16 in just a moment here.
They're just waiting for that moment. They have VP.
Yeah.
Even though there's Gust available, I think VP stops a lot more.
I mean, both are very powerful, depending on the situation.
And they can also drop down the bunker and kind of ignore that Gust from happening as well.
Lornado.
So lots of tool for Supernova to actually control the boss here.
Yeah. I think BlossoM has slightly better ones, but yeah, we can't ignore the effect that Supernova can have here. And if used correctly, Supernova's heroics can completely nullify what BlossoM is doing.
Or he can cocoon Falstad. How about that?
Yeah. Or bunker right when you see him about to Gust, everyone gets in. Very difficult to pull that off, but it is possible. Well,
are they giving up?
I think that they might look to try to do this. No, they're invading really heavily. They just want to look for the 4-man siege giant push instead. Remember, the next temple is right above, so BlossoM has to clear this, or they're going to lose damage on their keep on the opposite side of the map. So they have to come down, which means that Supernova can now rotate up and have a significant positional advantage, plus the leading wave here, which is why they're going to clear this camp.
Even though BlossoM just hit 16, that's now piercing on Hanzo, so their boss timing is really, really fast. And if they realize it, I think they started it because...
They did.
Oh yes, they saw the camp taken. They have some time, but VP is going to stop everything. Just enough time to buy.
Oh, there it is. Arrow is not going to connect because of that VP.
Actually delayed the joining.
Sure. That's not how he wanted to use it. He wanted to get the pick on to Haben, and he will eventually get that kill. As the arrow
I don't think
delays.
that was intended, but that was actually a perfect arrow.
Yeah. And they get the boss from this. Very close game here. Only 4 deaths in total. But this one play, the arrow, that again I think intended to kill an Uberog, it does end up stopping that rotation, giving them boss, which also in turn will give them full control over the temple.
Wow, what a big decision making. Well, Supernova, I think their speed on the boss was not going to be as fast as what BlossoM was able to do with Hanzo. So they were kind of lost. Okay, if we started, we're just going to lose our HP and then maybe they will take over. So they switched to have a longer rotation because they were losing the macro fight against Falstad, but that ended up becoming a very bad decision.
Well, they're going to have to commit to this fight now.
There's a flight.
If they don't take control of this, they're going to lose their keep. In fact, it looks like they just barely save it.
Final shots.
Okay, Root barely misses Wiz as well. And they're just going to give it away. Backing out now. BlossoM looking for an opportunity here to grab a straggler because of the dismounts, but unfortunately unable to find that. 2 minutes until this night camp is up, so if they want to get the keep, they probably just have to slow push it in. And that's exactly what Wiz is doing in the top lane right now.
No other camps controlled. All heroics available. Not even close to 20, but what BlossoM is trying to do is to set up for the macro. Did they spot Zeratul? I think he's going for it, but nice blink.
Yeah, really nicely done. But, you know, he's delaying the inevitable because eventually this keep is going to go down if this wave comes through. Look at the positioning of Hanzo as well. Always got to be tracking where Modern Life is because the arrow can change everything in a second. If Supernova decides this is the time we're going to make our stand, we're going to go for the fight. Further away the arrow is, the longer the stun.
Usually we have these moments, super intense moment, and one small mistake, which kills everything. There's a cocoon on the Gyrosh, they can't dive.
Yep, it's going to guarantee them the camp at least. All right, this is going to be the fight they're looking for. Honkono is the target. Divine Shield's still available. They're going to wait for the bunker to expire before they commit in. That Gust puts them in a zone here, but the arrow only hits Kirisaku, so not exactly what they wanted. Void's up. Here's the fight. Oh, look at this follow-up here from Kirisaku. Doing so much damage. Divine Shield onto Modern Life, so he's doing a lot of damage. He's going to get the kill here onto Zera. Gondar is going to go down crosswise here.
In a choke point with the piercing arrows, Hanzo excels so much. Look at him going all over the wall. He wants more kills. Even onto Alex. That was not the perfect scatter, but seems like he will just pick it up after one, and that's the entire team wipe. Not the best position to fight in that choke point against Hanzo.
That will very likely just guarantee them the game. Getting this wave and getting the keep will be 20, so they have those 20 talents, the Storm talents to fight on the core with. And finally, that Divine Shield really ends up allowing Modern Life to maximize his damage because he has movement speed. That's actually really what the most critical thing of that Divine Shield was. His movement speed allowed him to chase and do that maximum damage with the Pierce, with the Scatters, hit his auto attacks perfectly, stutter step forward. And BlossoM is going to move on to a 2-1 lead, match point, in this surprisingly very close series.
That was a very slow game as well, but they will take it. Falstad was almost the bait